everyone, and welcome to the Always On Point podcast here with Kristen Ambos. Today, I am so excited to bring to you Anna Curell from Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Kristen.
So she is a bilingual real estate agent, and we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about this podcast and setting it up and what is so important for people to know, bilingual for sure, but also within different communities. And it just so happens that the Hispanic community tends to be very self-employed dominant. And so why we wanted to bring this out was not only for them, but also for self-employed people in general, because we have a few loan programs that a lot of your typical banks and credit unions don't provide. And so in all of the ways we've problem solved and gotten to speak for a while, we thought this is a spot where we need to really come together and get this information out. And not only are we going to speak on it, then she will translate some of it as well so that we can meet the criteria of everybody listening, because we want everyone to be able to hear and understand what these programs are. So first of all, Anna, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And this is exciting because we've always talked about like collaborating, and it's I've always had that passion that there's a must need for people to hear you, and you have all these great products that you can offer the community. And Wisconsin as a whole, it has a thriving community of self-employed people.
Yes.
Right? And then it's just so interesting that I've met so many that come from different backgrounds. Like some people have like a doctor's degree. Some people are school dropouts, and they're all successful. They're all running,
of them.
Like plumbing, like roofing, or I don't know, restaurants. And recently I'm talking to gasoline owners, gas station owners.
Oh my gosh, gas station owners is one of them that are so far phenomenal. But you just hit the nail on the head. And I'll speak for my own family. My husband has an associate's degree. I have an associate's degree. My daughter decided to get into the real estate world and not go to college. I'm doing a job that I didn't need to go to college for. Right? So there's all these things where we're all successful in our own right. And yet we didn't need that 4-year degree. So I'm super passionate about it, because I always say, given our success as a family, you don't have to have a 4-year degree. Yeah. You can be don't let your background stop you, because you can be ultra successful. Yeah. Now, some of them, like you said, a doctorate and things are so specific that you have to go to college, get that. But so many people don't. And that's why I really like to open it up to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's truly, if there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly.
And sometimes book smarts does not equal getting in and getting your hands dirty and still being successful with an owner, as being an owner. And not everybody is bookkeeper. Exactly. When they're an owner and they're just learning it, and they're leaning on their CPAs and things like that, right? And I've always said a great CPA is a mortgage person's nightmare, because their job is to write everything off, right? Is to take advantage of those tax deductions. And then what happens is sometimes you're left with very minimal income showing on taxes. That doesn't mean you can't buy a house. We have those loan products that have come around. And so I love that you started out saying that, because that's exactly what this podcast is about.
That's awesome. Yes. And then thank you for that opening too.
Yeah.
What I've seen my dad, I don't know if you mind if I share this story.
No, please do.
My dad, my parents, because my mom, she's exactly the reason why we're here, right?
Yeah.
So my mom and dad, they're entrepreneurs. They've been my whole life, 33 years of entrepreneurship. They've owned everything, like a restaurant, ice cream shop, convenience store, now a bar.
Yeah.
So they've been everywhere. So I think my dad said this when we were younger, and then he said, "Do you girls really think that my dream come true was going to making tacos my everything?"
Right.
Do you guys really think that was my dream come true, to make tacos?
He was a kid and thought, I'm going to make tacos for the rest of my life.
living.
Right.
Yeah. And then that got me thinking. I'm like, you need to find a niche. And I think that a lot of people have found that I know my dream come true. My dream was to become a singer, and that doesn't make me buy a house and go on trips with my family and all this stuff. And then people ended up finding out, you know what, I'm good with my hands and car washes, and then I'm going to open up a car wash. And so people tend to open up opportunities that way.
Entrepreneurship is crazy where the twists and turns take you. And that's what makes them so successful. They're the visionary, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes they have to be the visionary, the integrator, like we were just talking about, the bookkeeper, all the things when really they just want to be a visionary. Mm-hmm. And so they're leaning on different ways. But when, and I'm going to, assume because, it's not fair to assume, but I guess I'm speaking from experience at the same time, mm-hmm. where there's so many entrepreneurs that start with one thing. Let's say a plumber. Mm-hmm. They start with a plumber and they're as a plumber, and then they work their way up to a really successful business. And they have cash and they want to invest it. And now they're going, okay, well, what do I invest? All I really know is how to do things mechanically. Mm-hmm. Well, then their best investment is real estate. Mm-hmm. Now, how do I use my money to invest so I can diversify? Because true entrepreneurships, and you just said it with your parents, they started once in one aspect and then they diversified with multiple businesses. Mm-hmm. And that's usually how it goes for entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. They start and then they diversify. Because what if this one business goes out? Then I have this other business to fall back on. Mm-hmm. Or I have this other, or I have passive income so that when I can't use my hands mm-hmm. and do plumbing anymore, I now have something else to help create wealth for my family while I'm getting older. Mm-hmm. And that's where real estate becomes so intriguing to so many entrepreneurs, no matter what the background of that entrepreneurship is.
Mm-hmm. And that gave me the idea of like bringing this up again. So yeah, you start with as a plumber, and then you're like, you know what, I have some cash and I want to invest it, but I love capital. So a lot of entrepreneurs, I find it that they love capital. They don't want to see it in stocks. They're like more of like the traditional like people. They're like, oh, I'd rather see my money in like buildings, mm-hmm. and I have some cash and let me buy some rental properties. Yeah, and then they start growing their portfolio that way. Yeah. And that's what I find out that a lot of people are becoming then, you know what, let me open up an LLC and then become a property management. And then let me offer my services to not just myself, let me open it up to a couple other people. And then they start, you know what, I think I'm good at putting up gutters and roofing. And then all of a sudden you're like 3 businesses in.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the one part of financing those properties is finding the person who can help you finance them, right? Mm-hmm. Because you have to start out and you have this cash. And what clients do and what Anna and I've been talking about in the background is they come to us and they're like, okay, I have this cash, but I can't show income on my tax returns, but I really want to be a homeowner, whether it's primary residence to start or rental properties to start. And then that's where Anna and I have been talking about, okay, well, where do we put this money? And 2 of those loan programs that are awesome are either the bank statement loan or the DSCR loan. Mm-hmm. And the DSCR loan, where I want to circle back to that is not only do they not need tax returns, they can close in their LLC, and DSCR loans are a lot more lenient on the down payment. We don't have to source every detail of where it came from. As long as the money's in the bank and we have it, that's it. Mm-hmm. We don't have to source large deposits or things that a conventional loan will not allow. Or we can utilize the DSCR, we can utilize the rents to purchase the home instead of income tax returns. Okay. So then that really helps because so many people have been good at saving money, but maybe they save it as cash. Yeah. Maybe they put it in this investment somewhere else and they can take it out, but we can't necessarily paper trail all of that. Mm-hmm. That's where this comes in. Mm-hmm. And it can be just such a great way of getting into those rental properties and things like that where they can utilize their capital to do that without necessarily having to put, I've got a client right now that's doing conventional loan, and we just had the conversation yesterday where he's like, do you need my blood sample too? Because he's moving a lot of stuff around. And whenever you move money around with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they want documentation. They want everything documented. Where DSCR gives that breathing room. Mm-hmm. Bank statement loans give that breathing room to people where they don't necessarily have to give their firstborn in a blood sample in order to buy it.
So is it okay if I bring up like an example?
Yes.
Let's say that this guy is working at a low income.
Yep.
And he has this money because his dad like gifted him money like years ago.
Yep.
And he has this money, but his income is so low and he can't buy a house.
Yep.
Are you thinking DSCR for him or?
If he wants to be an investment owner, yes. So the one thing, and I'm glad you pointed that out, is DSCR is for investment only, not primary
So
residences.
you can't live in this.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's good to know. But the bank statement loan, if he's got a business on the side that brings in brings in income, then we can use those bank statements to qualify for an income. If he's got maybe he's got a low income, but he's got a little side hustle or something to that nature, then we could look at that for being an option.
Okay.
And then that can be a primary.
Okay. So this same guy, let's say he started today.
Yeah.
When does he come in and say, you know what, I've X years of this business.
Yeah.
When can they qualify?
12 months. We need 12 months bank statements at a minimum. 24 months helps. So there is a little bit of that in the bank statement loan world. There is a little bit of leeway where you can do 12 months instead of 2 years unconventional. But if you have 2 years, it's just a little bit more stability. So that's where 2 years will get you maybe a slightly lower interest rate.
Okay. And then for these individuals, what do you look at? Because there's like you had pointed out before, there's all these deductibles. Let's say this business brings in $10,000 a month.
Yep.
But with the deductibles, and I have a vehicle, and I have staff, and all that stuff, ends up being like $8,000 of deductible.
Yep.
Do you look at both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
Deposits. So that bank statement loan, they bring in $10,000 of deposits regularly. Now, we do have an income calculator that we have to put it in, but if we can see that over and over, then we're going to add that back. And I love that you're asking about this because I've got a client right now who we're buying a house with a DSCR loan, but she's refinancing a property that's free and clear to cash out because she can't show income on her taxes to cash out. So we've got 2 loans, same client, self-employed. One is being purchased with DSCR for investment, and the other one is being cashed out with a bank statement loan because we need to show more income for that property. And with that particular case, that's because she's got a sub 630 credit score.
Okay.
So she's got a 626 credit score, and we're still getting this stuff done.
That's awesome.
Where if you have a 640 or a 660, you get a little bit more leeway and maybe don't have to put as much money down, where she's got to put 35% down, but she's still getting it done off of those 2 deals. So we can mix and match those 2 loan programs for her to purchase and still cash flow out of both of them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes. So you got to get creative on those.
Yeah. And that's why it's so cool that buyers get to know that there's not just most people are not the traditional buyer that everybody wants in the banks. Local banks are like, oh, I want 2 years of this, 2 years of that, credit score this, and then people feel that the door is closed. Some of my customers, self-employed people, have been, you qualify for X dollars, you know, and then we go out shopping, and then they're looking at the houses, and you know what, Anna, I can afford a $3,000 payment, you know, and then I would be like, okay, well. That's good to know, and then later on in our conversations, it's well, I have my cleaning business, and I'm like, oh my God, we should just
hold on a minute. Yes.
Yeah, you're shopping in the wrong place. You know? We need to go to these other people that do the lending, like Kristen, and then you offer all these different programs that are a better fit for their circumstance.
Well, and what you just brought up is such a key point in this. Don't be afraid to tell us what you all have. Because some people are very afraid that...
Especially people, sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
but
no, please.
I feel that there's, especially my buyers, they never want to confess they have all these accounts.
Yes.
And then I'm like, it's not like we're taking all your money.
Right.
She just wants to know like what
Yes.
she can work with, you know?
When I know the whole picture, listen, if I see everything and you tell me everything, I'm a safe place because I want to make this work for you. I am not telling the IRS. None of that's happening.
Yeah.
That's none of my business, right? But the more I know, the more I can help you into that situation, right? So if you tell me you have some of these businesses, like you just said, it's like, holy cow, now we're opening up a whole different realm of something I didn't know we could do, you know? So please don't feel free to tell me. I'm not the underwriter. I'm not the IRS. I'm not turning you into anything, right?
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense to me, then I can help you and then I can help Anna get you what you need.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're out looking like you said. And I'm like, you call me and say, hey, well, what about this? I'm like, oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
But
All the time. I'm like, hey, I have this scenario here. And then Kristen's like, send them over. I got it. You know?
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Or talk to Anna. Let her be your safe place. Then she can call me and say, well, what about this or what about this? And then I can help answer those questions, right? Like, I love the problem solving of the business.
And there's no same situation for anybody.
There's
right?
not. There's not. And right now with the client I have, for example, I would have never thought that we'd be doing what we are doing. But because, I know, and I'll be honest, in 25 years of doing this is the first time I'm working with one client at the same time doing two totally different non-QM loans. And that's what these are. These are just not your traditional mortgages. However, there are investors out there with a massive thirst to want to help people buy these because they are also self-employed businesses that understand what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important to get this out because yes, they might charge a little bit of a higher interest rate because they're doing something that's non-traditional. They're taking on a little more risk. But gosh, the end result is so huge. And they, instead of being a hard money lender, they are a true investor. But they're also willing to meet you in the middle. So I'm always saying it's the best of both worlds, right? We're not a commercial loan and we're not a residential, like a traditional mortgage. It's like if those two things came together and had a baby, that's what these loan programs are. Like it's the most layman's term way I can explain, right? You can use an LLC and you can still purchase without a 5-year arm. These are 30-year tradition, 30-year mortgages, not traditional, but 30-year traditional in sense that you are locked in for 30 years.
Oh yeah. And now that you brought up LLC, are these under an LLC or do they get under like a name?
They can go either way.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
Because sometimes people are very passionate about, I want it under my name or what's the best route? Some people, their CPAs say, what, put it under the LLC. That's better for you or whatever they end up deciding.
It's a different preference. So I'm glad you brought that up too, because again, some people want it under the LLC because they don't want it underneath them personally. Okay. And some people want it underneath them personally. That's for you and your CPA to determine. I'm never going to give you advice I can tell you what I've done in my particular scenarios, being an investor, buying investments, having an LLC, not using it and using it. But I'm in no way, shape, or form going to tell you what to do for your situation. That's where you should lean on your CPA.
Yeah, awesome.
And then let's find a way around that fits.
Yeah. Well, I'm very passionate about helping the self-employed.
Yes.
Because my parents were and are. And the thing is that I see the struggle. I see that, hey, you know what? They are able to pay the mortgage, but they can't get in it because, the banks don't lend them the money.
Right.
And then they have like dreams. And then once you come in and you make the dream happen, it's pretty cool.
It starts that way. And then it can just snowball from there, because then you are like, okay, well, how do I buy 30 properties if I don't have 20% on all those 30 properties? Well, then we start leveraging exactly what we're doing with my client is we're pulling out of a property that was free and clear, which that property is already making more money, right? So they're still going to, the renters are still going to make the payment. So it's costing my buyers nothing out of pocket. So they're taking out of that property to then purchase another property, which is also going to cash flow. They use none of their own cash in this.
So is this like an equity loan for the down payment?
No, what happened is we did the DSCR loan to buy, right? Or I'm sorry, we're using the this is where it's confusing. So I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. We're using the bank statement loan to do the refinance and then using the DSCR to purchase because they don't need, the rents will qualify.
Okay.
So we're using the property that they currently own, we're refinancing it to pull the cash out. And then that cash is going to purchase the next house. All of this cash is in properties that they're going to own or do own. And then they don't have to use any of their own money in hand.
So nothing comes
out of their own money. It's coming out of their own property.
Yeah.
But then
But let's say that I don't have. Obviously people have their bank accounts but you don't need that cash,
right?
Because people love keeping their cash.
Yep, they love keeping their cash. Hey, I like keeping cash too.
Same.
So I understand when people say like, well, I have that cash. Well, in a conventional, traditional world, we can't use cash. But in these types of loans, we can because we have those investments. We have those ways around it. So it's another way. And then you can utilize your properties to buy other properties.
So some of my buyers are saying that, how's the interest rate? They're very passionate about like, okay, what's the interest rate?
Yep.
Because conventional or non-conventional, and then this DSCR or bank statement loan. How bad of an interest rate, or how is it much higher than the traditional?
I think it's great for you to ask that because no, they're they're really not. So with them on the 30-year fix, they are slightly higher. But if your credit score is a big driver of this.
Yeah.
So if your credit is low, it might be a little higher. It might be into the 7s or 8s even. However, if you did a traditional mortgage, you wouldn't even get a loan at all. So yes, you are going to pay a little bit of a higher rate. However, I have a client right now that is starting their rental portfolio that we're doing DSCR over DSCR with, and they're going to hold on to these properties for a minute. So they were okay taking a 5-year prepayment penalty because they know they're going to have them. That 5-year prepayment penalty, we can be as low as 6.99 to 7.25%.
Okay.
If your credit's a little lower and you don't want a prepayment penalty, which some people want to pay them off in 2 years, so they would rather just take the higher interest rate because they're paying it off so fast anyway that interest rate is really non-existent to them. That's part of their strategy. And in that case, that interest rate might be 8.9, truthfully. But they're like, I'm paying it off in 2 to 3 years. I'd rather take the higher interest rate than pay a prepayment penalty. So then it works for them. But they're not paying it at 8.99% interest rate if they're using it for 2 years, 3 years to pay it off.
Yeah.
So it's all, everybody's got that different system.
Even 8% doesn't seem that high.
No.
Like when I bought my rental property, I was like at 8.
Yeah.
8.2.
Yeah.
And then when I had that closing for that bank statement loan.
Yeah.
She closed at 6.5.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you did a lot better than what I did for my rental.
Right.
That's awesome.
And home equity loans right now are still anywhere from, you might get a good deal at a local bank, but you're going to have a lot of restrictions on that. Where if you have a property that's free and clear, you can cash this out. And if you have a reasonable credit score, in that 700s range, you're probably looking at somewhere around, like you said, 6.5 to 7.5%. Or a second mortgage is probably somewhere between 7.5 and 10.5% right now, depending on your loan to value and your credit score.
Yeah.
So they can even be sometimes less expensive than taking out a home equity line. So that's where it can be really great.
It is great. Yes. So I would love to redo this in Spanish.
Yes. Yes.
but because we went with like a couple examples that I'm like, oh, this is a must.
Yeah.
So if we can redo the whole like the bank statement loan.
Yes.
So if I can,
please do, because this is so important for all dialects to understand, to know whether.
And I wish I knew Hmong because there's so many. We have such a thriving community here in Green Bay with self-employed. So Mi nombre es Ana Curiel y aquí estoy con Kristen, ambos, y ella es una prestamista que hace milagros con la comunidad de que tiene su propio negocio, para que tengan sus propias casas. No necesariamente necesitan ir al banco local. Hay prestamistas como ella que ellos hacen posible que no sea tradicional el programa como lo que piden en los bancos aquí. Ella con alguien de que tiene su negocio con estados de cuenta de los últimos 12 meses, entonces con personas de que tienen solamente un año de negocio, puede citarse con ella y ella lo que hace, ella mira lo que le están metiendo a las cuentas bancarias y mira lo que son los reducibles. Entonces, como ella entiende de que para manejar un negocio tienen que ser gastos y hay empleados, hay que pagar la luz, el agua, etcétera. Pero ella al final está viendo los depósitos y entonces ya con eso puede calificar uno para un préstamo mayor de lo que le pueden prestar en el banco local, porque ella no está necesariamente viendo los impuestos, está viendo más lo que le están depositando a esas cuentas bancarias. Y entonces está súper de que ella pueda ayudarnos a la comunidad de que tiene sus propios negocios, porque se les abre la oportunidad para que logren su casa del sueño y no estamos así como usando tanto nuestro efectivo. Entonces eso es muy, muy súper de su parte de ella. So I just went over the 12-month bank statement loan. You're the one to call. And then you understand that to run a business, we have these deductibles, and then, but you will look at the deposits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't mind still saying that even though I speak English, I have so many loan officers that are licensed in Wisconsin with my company that are fluent in Spanish, bilingual. Please let them know that we'll make sure that they have somebody at their comfort level to get this done.
The applications in Spanish too.
And the application.
Yes. So Kristen me está recordando de que ella tiene muchas personas de que les hace las aplicaciones, les ayudan con las aplicaciones, están en 100% en español, y ella también tiene personas en su equipo que hablan español, son bilingües también, entonces eso se les facilita un poquito más el proceso de la aplicación y la jornada para obtener su preaprobación. So, yes.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Un poquito. For myself, but no, it's there's such an amazing community here locally, like you said.
Yeah.
And there's so many self-employed people. I am a self-employed person at heart. My husband and I have a couple businesses. So like you said, you have them, I've got them. We truly understand that piece of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important. A loan officer who has never owned anything in their life doesn't understand the true background of what you're looking for. They just know guidelines. They don't know the true problem solving and then, the things that are necessary to getting these types of things done.
And then I'm recently getting my roof done.
Yes.
Because we got hail.
Oh, yes.
The end of June, and then so the cool thing is that I get to do insurance claim.
Yep.
So it's all good. But I get to talk. I'm a talker.
Yes.
I'm an entertainer.
Yes, I love it.
So I've been doing real estate for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's been fun, Kristen.
That's it, 3 years?
It's been 3 years.
Anna, I feel like it's been 10.
I know.
You know so much.
I feel like I do.
You
because
do.
I've had so many, I've done commercial. I've done so much commercial.
Good for you.
And then it's just a community that I got to... I live in Green Bay, and I've lived in Green Bay forever. And then I know a lot of people. I was an engineer for 10 years.
Okay.
So I was a production improvement engineer.
Yeah.
And then so I met a lot of people there. I'm very involved in my church. My parents, they're everywhere. So,
Yeah.
and they know a lot of people.
You're very involved in the community.
I love it. I love it.
Good for you.
This was our second year doing the Bible camp.
Yeah.
And then I called Marcy and I'm like, oh, Marcy, I'm doing this. And then she's like, how do you have time for this? And I'm
Yes.
like, I don't. I just make it work. You know?
Yes. Right? You just make it work.
You just
That's
make it work,
exactly
yeah.
it. We
It's
all
not
have the
that
same 24 hours.
We don't have time.
Yeah.
But we need to make it work.
You have one life and you got to make it work.
Yes. And then it's just so rewarding when I
Yeah.
get to give the keys to buyers. It's like I'm tearing with them. And it's
Yes.
like, especially if we get like their dream house.
Girl, 25 years later, and I've never, ever not gotten excited with an accepted offer or a clear to close.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's
Those
the
are
best
days.
feeling in the world.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And then it's a happy moment. And that's why, you know, I love people.
Yeah.
I love talking to people.
Yeah.
So when I first started, well, I wanted my name out there, you know.
Yeah.
So I would go to restaurants and I would be giving business cards to
Yeah.
the waiters and I'm like, hey guys, like I'm a real estate agent now.
Never know who they know.
Yeah, you know. And then so I love talking to people and then but yeah, I feel very passionate about helping everybody. Like
Yeah.
the first time home buyer, the person that is buying real estate for business now, like our investors.
Yeah.
And so I get to meet a lot of people.
That's awesome. Well, keep doing what you're doing because I would have thought you had been in business in real estate for a lot longer than that.
I know it does feel like I've been in more, but you know, I think because we started with like talking about the education side and I think going to college did help me become stronger because I feel like I have that background and I have the production side of me that I can relate to everybody, you
Absolutely.
know? And it's like, oh, you're a production worker. Hey, I know how it is.
Yeah.
I know how it is waking up at 5 a.m. and punching in, punching out.
Right?
Like I've been there, done that.
Hey,
Yes.
I've been with you. I used to work at the pickle plant.
Oh, here?
Yes, I used to work at the pickle plant here. So I'd spend my summers doing that in between college, like at back. So production, it's the more versed you are and the more different jobs you do, I feel like when you're younger, the more you really realize and you value everything.
You do.
Whether it's manufacturing, whether it's office work.
Yeah.
I mean, I audited dumpsters on garbage trucks one summer. Like I was just all over the place.
Yeah.
But it really does. You meet a ton of people and it really centers you and grounds you into what all goes into these different types of jobs, of people, of all the things that are needed.
Yeah.
Right?
And especially when you talk to like the new person, you know, and they're like, oh, she doesn't know anything or, you know, and then I start like, because being a female also the whole like, oh, she doesn't know, you know, and then, let's talk about these things, the mechanics. Let's talk about I start telling them what I do know, and it surprises people.
Yes.
So yes, I only have 3 years practicing real estate, but my parents have been in real estate for like ever.
Yes.
So that's why
You have a way greater understanding of it.
So even when we first started, when I first decided to be an engineer, my parents, they were like, hey, one of you should go to real estate. And we were like, no, we don't want to do real estate. And then because my parents have been buying and selling.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't feel like doing that. But when there was a time that I had to do a career switch to becoming a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And then now I have 3 kids. And then they keep me busy.
They keep you busy. So that plus real estate, your hands are full, but you manage it well and you juggle it all very well. So good for you.
So at the office, my brokers, they just have so much fun telling the story. So I was in labor for my 3rd baby, and then I was putting in a $2.5 million offer.
Oh my gosh, in the hospital.
Yeah. So I pushed out the baby, and then I got the text that, hey, your offer was accepted. So that put me on the spot. Like,
So when they say these guys are working 24/7, they're not lying. They're not lying. And that's what you need. That's the go-to person. So
yeah. No, I work hard for my people. Oh my God, I really do. I'm always, hey, look at this opportunity, or finding out the details.
Yes.
You know, and then working with the right people.
Yes, the details are so very important.
Yes, to make the good decision
Yeah.
on things, you know. And what is meant to be, oh my God, the times that I say that to people, what is meant to be will be.
Right.
You know, because
the right one's going to come and it's going to be better than you thought.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like the first offer that I put in, that's the accepted offer,
Yeah.
and then it's like, yay, you know?
Yeah.
It's exciting, but sometimes it takes a couple, and then it's like, oh, Hannah, and I'm sad for them, but I know that something big is coming.
Something bigger and better is coming.
Yes.
You know it.
So I love the journey.
I love it.
It's good.
Good for you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here today. If you guys are looking, please, you're listening to this, reach out to Anna. She is with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group here in Green Bay, northeastern Wisconsin. She can help you. Like we said, she's a bilingual agent and she works around the clock.
Yes,
so,
I do.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. And as always, to our audience, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. Click that like and subscribe. Share this with somebody who you feel like could utilize, whether they're self-employed, whether they need a bank statement loan, or just want to start that process and knowing the next steps. Anna's your girl.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you. See you next week.